You know where the good times are rolling? Larry Page and his private islands in Fiji made a deal with the government not to let anybody into all the islands. So a bunch of Google and Microsoft people can all have their own private islands with 30 servants apiece, while they make sure your kids commit suicide and self-harm, locking them down worldwide, and while they make sure that cures for COVID-19 and other viral infections aren't allowed to get to the public, while they even lobby to have hydroxychloroquine and remdesivir and other drugs blocked from third world and first world populations to get those death numbers up. Big article I'm going to cover in the last segment of this hour. Billionaires segregate themselves to luxury private islands as ordinary people told they can't travel. But there's something much bigger. Larry Page has been there for a year and a half. And it's not to escape COVID, my friends. It is to escape all the other things they're releasing onto the public right now. So how do you get humanity under your thumb? How do you get them to accept a world ID and have a phone to track everywhere you go and have to have deadly shots that are experimental to be able to have a job or go to the grocery store? Well, you terrorize the public. You have a bunch of talking heads get up there and gaslight everyone. They need to do it. But then you learn that the media pundits and the government people aren't taking the shots. You learn they're not social distancing. They're having parties. They're on private jets because they're exempt. And that's the key to any successful tyranny, is that the establishment has to be separate from the proletariat. If they can be separate and divide and conquer the proletariat is part two. If they can be separate from the way they make us live, if they can even make us forget they even exist in their forbidden cities, and then they can divide and conquer us and make us fight with each other and be distracted with bread and circuses, like the Olympics, well, then they can really carry out draconian activities against us if we don't have an ethos, we don't have a sense of who we are, we don't have a direction. And if you look at America and the world, what's the best way to describe America or Europe or anywhere else in the world right now? Lost. We are lost. And they have all these big globalists that have these big official eugenics meetings. The Wall Street Journal and the London Guardian, they all tell you about it. They come out and they say, we need to set up world government to depopulate the planet. And then Klaus Schwab, who was the head of the UN program for biodiversity and sustainability, he goes and sets up the working group for the Davos group, which is like the corporate arm of the UN, and the World Economic Forum, where they get all the corporations on board for how they're supposed to behave, and then they'll get all the PR, and they'll get all the bank money, and they'll be the dominant force. And that's how you get all the corporations pulling in the same direction. Absolutely monstrous individuals. And so the UN is about corporate power transcending the nation state and getting rid of the values of the individuals and the people, and only having the values of the globalist. And what is that? They want depopulation. They want us out of the way. And so you see Klaus Schwab bragging, oh, it's been so wonderful to have no one out during the lockdowns. It was so good for the earth, so good for the animals. Then he's on other TV shows going, it's so sorry people are starving to death because of the lockdown. Once you take an app and the vaccine, we will let you go out again. But then as soon as that started, they went, oh, new variants. As I predicted a year and a half ago, we can't let you. And now a common cold or one death in Australia, the whole country goes under lockdown. And it's all based on a fraud. You say thousands of suicides, thousands dying from not getting medical treatment. Shut up. You'll be banned on every platform. You won't have any free speech if you talk about that and logic. Well, fine, I'll use my text messages. Oh, no, we're going to control those now, too. So there's no end to this. But there's a big article Paul Joseph Watson wrote that I asked you to put together this morning. He did a great job, that deals with this, that's on Infowars.com. Billionaires segregate themselves on luxury private islands as ordinary people told they can't travel. And why is this important? They set up deals in the Caribbean, they set up deals in the Pacific, everywhere, where they don't let the general public in for the last year. And now they're saying, oh, they're going to extend it again. Oh, a new variant hit Fiji. And it really turns out that thousands of billionaires have moved there. They've set up camp with their jumbo jets and their 1,000-foot and 800-foot and 200-foot yachts, and that it's ghost towns in the islands that even had populations they've taken over because there were no jobs for those people. They've all left and moved on. They even bring their own staff. They don't even hire anybody when they come. And now they're buying up all the islands so they don't have to be around us while we collapse, while we riot, while we starve to death, and while they release bioweapons that they claim are because the unvaccinated didn't take their shots. That's in the next phase. Billionaires segregate themselves on luxury private islands as ordinary people told they can't travel. And one of them, Larry Page, it turns out, got really upset when it was discovered that he lived on one of the islands in the last year and a half, and that's why everything's on Zoom, because it's a Chinese company they work with to surveil us. They built back doors in it. So Larry Page is sitting there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean while you're locked up in your 200-square-foot coffin apartment, and you never even know where Larry Page is. And he doesn't want all his people knowing he's out there living in luxury, or that Ted Turner's living on his 100,000-acre ranch, or Bill Gates is living on his, millions of acres. It's all in the article. But they also have what they call Blue Lane. That's the name of it in Fiji, but it's the same everywhere, where they come and buy off the local politicians, the big tech money, which is just the big banker money, the private intelligence money, and they come and they buy them off, and then they just keep the country locked down so that no one's there. So they're already putting you in prison. They're putting you in a digital prison. They're telling you you're not essential. They're not just making people commit suicide or cutting them off from regular medical care. They're not just suppressing all the known 99% effective treatments for things like COVID-19. They're suppressing where they live and where they are, because you see, if it's known when world depopulation's happening and hundreds of millions are starving to death in the new lockdown they're announcing, not tens of millions extra, people are going to understand who did this and who killed them. And then it was big tech got together with Klaus Schwab and the UN to come up with this plan to force us onto AI, to make us obsolete, to double and triple the profits of big tech that administers the shutdown. So they get all the money, all the power, all the privacy, all the control, all the everything, get to guinea pig test all this mRNA technology on us en masse, while telling us they're doing it all to save the earth and saying, boy, this has worked so good, we need carbon shutdowns every year or so to save the earth. So they've appointed themselves as savers of the earth. So why is Larry Page and all the rest of these guys, I'm not singling him out, Eric Schmidt, all of them, why are they so upset? Because it's in the articles. They had state-run media come in and shut down local press that reported he lived there. He gets his privacy. Larry Page spies on you. Mark Zuckerberg spies on you. You don't get speech. You get censored. You don't get medical care. You're not essential. Your daughter or son commits suicide. You die of fentanyl. Your brother, your mother in a nursing home dies from lack of being, your parents die in the hospital. You can't come see them for a year and a half. Seeing what you'll put up with because you're a good person, being told by them, oh, you're saving the world by doing this, while they're out like George Jetson flying around on jet copters and spacesuits and hydrofoil surfboards. While all of Hawaii, there he is in Kauai. Kauai's all shut down, but he's not shut down. He's got 10,000 acres. He's Mark Zuckerberg. And of course, World Bank coronavirus aid comes with conditions for imposing extreme lockdowns, reveals the president of Belarus. And of course, you know what happened to him after he didn't go along with them, and what happened to all those African leaders when they didn't go along with it, or what happened to the Haiti leader. You know what happened? I mean, this is a brutal, aggressive, systematic evil, but they can't get away with carrying out this type of economic assault and shutting down the world economy and starve people to death en masse if they're identified, if their program is understood. And so you see all the useful idiots, all the well-meaning people, all the left that went out and got their shots, wore their mask, and said, now can I come outside? They said, no, you can't, because they don't respect you because you don't stand up for yourself. So I would say anybody that's got money and got the time, I'm tempted to do it, should go to Fiji and go to Kauai and go to all these places and don't do anything illegal. just set up shop, let folks know they're there, shoot reports about it, and say, hey, the folks killing everybody, the folks locking down the world, they're out on their yachts right now. See their plane fly over, see their helicopter? That's the mansion they're in right now. All you retirees, former military folks, former FBI agents that aren't bad guys, hey, let's see who you are. Let's see you take your damn money out of the stupid bank, stop watching TV all day, and let's see you go to these places. Because I snuck into Bohemian Grove, I snuck into Bilderberg. I'm not that smart, and I've already hurt these people bad, okay? And you know what? If I got to do it, I'll do it. But I'm just saying, they need to know we're watching them because they don't like it. And they need to know they better back off and stop killing us right now. They're already going to go to hell. They're already dog crap. I don't want any harm done to these people. I turn them into a victim. But I want them identified. I want them identified.